Hello, today we are going to install in QEMU virtual machines the two operating systems, CachyOS and EndeavourOS. Both are from the Linux family of operating systems Arch. CachyOS doesn't yet have a Wikipedia page, whereas EndeavourOS does have such a Wikipedia page. Both Linux operating systems, CachyOS and EndeavourOS, had recent releases. Let's go to the homepage of each Linux operating system and see what they are about. So CachyOS has this feature list. The kernel uses Bohr scheduler for better interactivity. Scheduler options EVDF, ShedExt, Echo, RT. Kernels compiled with x86 64 v3 and v4. LTO. And some of the core packages are compiled with x86 64 v3 and v4. Some of the packages use LTO, some of the packages use PGO and Bolt. Both operating systems have a graphical user interface installer. When you boot from the ISO, the installer framework Calamares is being used. Okay, let's download. Desktop edition of CachyOS is using KD Plasma. I have selected the download link. I have already downloaded this ISO CachyOS -KD -Linux -240609.iso. EndeavourOS can provide a vanilla Arch experience. There's an option in the graphical user interface installer, which is using the Calamares installer framework, where at the end of installing the operating system, everything is vanilla Arch. Vanilla Arch packages, vanilla Arch kernel, everything. On top of that, they have their own suite of applications, EndeavourOS applications. Okay, so the installer uses Calamares. The default web browser is Firefox in EndeavourOS, and in CachyOS it is Cachy browser, which is Firefox plus some security and optimization patches. You can either download using BitTorrent or from the mirror list. I have downloaded from the mirror list the ISO. Let's now create two Virt Manager virtual machines and install each operating system side by side. On the left half of the screen I will have CachyOS. On the right half of the screen I will have EndeavourOS. So CachyOS on the left does not detect. I'll give them almost 9 gigabytes of RAM and half of the CPU cores. So there are 8 vCPUs for each virtual machine forward. Make the hard disks, virtual hard disks, 200 gigabytes each. And this is CachyOS. Customize, finish. It's going to use BIOS, the best motherboard. Let's fix the CPU sockets. There's just one socket. And the rest are okay. The fast network interface card, device model VirtIO, fast virtual hard disk, disk bus VirtIO, and tablet. Great. Begin installation. Okay, so the default option here is CachyOS default, not NVIDIA, not fallback. It boots automatically in 10 seconds. Let's create the second virtual machine meanwhile. EndeavourOS. Eight, 200. Both virtual machines use the same Virt Manager template, so the settings should be the same. BIOS Q35. Let's fix the CPU sockets. VirtIO, VirtIO tablet. Let's begin installation. This menu is really similar. So EndeavourOS default, NVIDIA, and then fallback. Automatic boot is in 5 seconds, not in 10. The boot menu is the boot listing is similar. Booting into probably Xorg mode, in live CD mode. So both virtual machines are now running straight from the ISO, from the DVD drive. They're booted in live CD mode. EndeavourOS did not finish yet booting into graphical user interface mode. Now they're both in a similar place. Okay, so they're both running KD Plasma 6. With a similar resolution. They both show a welcome application. With the option to start the installer. And we're going to straight install to the hard disk, to the virtual hard disk. So launch installer for CachyOS. And start the installer for EndeavourOS. Choose installation method. Online lets you choose your desktop. Nope. Offline gives you KD Plasma. Okay, let's go offline. the installer, graphical user interface installer based on Calamares is running on both operating systems. Okay, let's put English. How do we do that? American English. Interesting sorting. American English is after Deutsch. Okay, so this is the first page of the installer wizard, where we select the language. EndeavourOS shows the pages of the graphical user interface installer on the left side, whereas CachyOS installer shows the install graphical user interface installer pages on the bottom. Okay, next. And next. New York. Looks okay, next. Language, English US. Next. Okay, let's see what are the options here. Do I want a bootloader? Yes, I want. GRUB is great. Next. And now we're at the same page where we need to select how we are going to partition disks, which disk and which partition should be used for installing the operating system. No option is selected by default. This BIOS thing says that the virtual hardware has a BIOS, not a UEFI, which is okay. What is this button? I would like the partition scheme to be GPT, not MBR. I'm not sure how to select that. Okay, so I'm selecting the virtual hard disk, which is of type VirtIO 200 gigabytes. Nothing else to select in here. And I do not want to provide a manual partitioning scheme. There's also the need to manually create a BIOS partition if you want to install grub, if you go with manual partitioning, at least on EndeavourOS. So let's select erase disk. No BTRFS, thank you. ext4 is great. Swap file, great. Okay, I would wish that CachyOS installer would provide me the option of a swap file versus this combo box. I'm in a virtual machine, so I do not need Hibernate, but for hardware computers, I would probably want a swap to file with Hibernate, so the file should be large. I do not want to encrypt the system. It's a virtual machine. It's not going anywhere. Boot location MBR, great. Next. Next. In CachyOS, I have the option of installing other desktops than KDE Plasma. Maybe some of these desktops will install packages from the internet, whereas the EndeavourOS installer has asked upfront if it's okay if it uses mostly packages from the ISO and not from the internet. But in this case, I can only install the KDE Plasma desktop, which is what I want. I want to have the KDE Plasma desktop. Okay, so KDE Plasma desktop, next. CachyOS packages. CPU specific microcode. Okay, the rest of the checkboxes are related to desktop environments and window managers. So Firefox is not installed by default on CachyOS, but you have the option straight in the installer to select to install Firefox. Printer scanners. Okay, let's go next. And we're at the same page with users. EndeavourOS. So I'm creating a Linux user named administrator on both computers. The name of the computer is going to be the name of the virtual machine, so EndeavourOS versus CachyOS, all lowercase without spaces and other non-alphabetic characters. Okay, I'm not sure what to use the same password for the administrator account does. I would like this user to have sudo powers. Okay, and this is the summary before actually touching the hard disk probably. They look pretty similar. Install. Install now. Install. Install now. Let's see if we have detailed instruction, detailed installer progress. And we do on both installers. This is great. Let's see what it's actually doing. So it's mounting file systems. What this thing does. Pacman lock. I'm not sure if this is an error or why did the pacman log window start. It should not have. Process is running in the background. Filling up file systems. So maybe it's taking the file system as it exists on the installer media on the ISO and just copying it to the virtual hard disk similar to the, the Ubuntu installer. Whereas on the left hand side we have using the command line package manager from Arch, which is pacman, installing many packages. It's going through to the internet maybe and installing the CachyOS tools and themes and fonts and KDE applications, etc. Okay, so we'll be back once the installer is further along. EndeavourOS did copy files from the ISO to the hard disk using rsync. That took around 5 minutes. And now it's doing the final setup. It's configuring the hardware to be used, users, bootloader, etc. The CachyOS installer says that it has finished. The pacman log window did not close yet. So I'm not exactly sure if it finished, but we're going to wait a bit until the EndeavourOS finishes. It's installing grub, and both installers say that the installation has finished. So we have one install log and one pacman log window on the CachyOS installer. All done, restart now. This is the final installer wizard page, done and done. EndeavourOS, the default boot option for EndeavourOS in grub. CachyOS, the default option. The GNU grub bootloader was installed on CachyOS also. Okay, so we're in a similar place as DDM, the desktop manager, and it's preparing to log in to KDE Plasma 6 using a local Linux user named administrator. The default desktop session is set to KDE Plasma Wayland. Let's log in. Let's first see that the ISO was removed from the DVD drive. So this is empty, and this is empty. Great. Let's log in. Okay, so this is one of the applications that is provided by both operating systems, different applications. One is called CachyOS Hello. Welcome to CachyOS. The other one is the EndeavourOS Welcome application. So these first run applications with many buttons are available in multiple operating systems. I have seen them in even in the year 2000 in Mandrake. I have seen them on various Live CD operating systems in the lineage of GNU/PIX. In order to do common actions that common post-install actions that many users need, such as installing binary drivers for NVIDIA. Previously, there was support for installing Microsoft compatible fonts, for installing audio-video codecs, for installing web browser plugins. And then the official documentation and forum as in here. Button for the graphical user interface package manager. Let's see how that looks like. Okay, after I have installed EndeavourOS, because the installer type was offline, so it just copied files from the ISO. It recommends that I upgrade the packages, which I'm not exactly sure how to do. Update mirrors. Let's click this button. Update system EOS update --AUR. What about this one? EOS. Rank mirrors. It's trying to use Ukraine. So it's probably guessing the EndeavourOS binary package repository mirror that's fast enough for me. What is this? Ranked. So if I were to install an Arch-based Linux operating system, I would go with the mirror that comes from the upstream. So many Linux operating systems have their own CDN content delivery network, and that's the best idea. You should choose that if the operating system has such a thing. Not use some random mirror from a university in Hungary or something. Because that will have the latest packages as fast as possible, that will have the best uptime possible, and that will have the best bandwidth possible. I'm not sure if EndeavourOS does have a CDN or a recommended mirror. Maybe this one, mirrors ChargeNet. These post-install graphical user interface wizards windows with many buttons and many tabs often did run command line application. So it starts a terminal, does in there a number of command line, starts a number of command line processes, and then that terminal will end, which is exactly what happened here when I selected update mirrors and EndeavourOS. Okay, let's update, probably this one. So it has Arch Linux package repositories, core, extra, multilib, and an additional repository, an additional repository for Pacman, which is EndeavourOS. Mirror 4 f4st.host. What is that? that's the problem when you're using random mirrors that might not work when you need them. Proceed with installation. I'm going to press enter in order to select the default option, which is uppercase Y, which means yes. We can see many Pac-Mans in here playing games. Let's see if this system update button works. Alacrity terminal, not the default KD terminal, which is console. It doesn't say what command line was being used. Package build upgrades, AUR upgrades, devel upgrades, full system upgrades. Extra multilib and core, probably from Arch Linux, or maybe a snapshot of those. And then CachyOS v3, core v3, extra v3, and CachyOS. These three maybe, v3 is maybe from the x86_64 v3, which is a CPU architecture. Enter to exit. Okay, for some reason there is a button to reinstall all packages. Install gaming packages. CachyOS package installer. So there is this application CachyOS package installer, which doesn't have a Wayland icon. Maybe it doesn't have a desktop file or something. It's showing the default Wayland icon instead of the icon in the title bar. There's this package manager inside of the CachyOS Hello application. This application doesn't look like a Qt application. Maybe it's using a GTK toolkit. Also, EndeavourOS has tried to install updates for the packages installed from the AUR. Press enter to close this window. What did it do? So it worked on the initram FS. Maybe it has installed a newer version of the Linux kernel. I can see it in here. So this will probably require a reboot. Press enter to close this window. Let us reboot if a new Linux kernel was installed. Start now. Okay, let's see the list of applications available in CachyOS Hello. Brave, ungoogled Chromium, Chromium, Firefox, Midori, Opera. Email clients, Kmail, Thunderbird, and Evolution. LibreOffice two versions of LibreOffice. Unofficial M365 web app inside of Electron. The icons are mixed. Some of the icons come from the KDE icon theme, which is called Breeze. This, I'm not sure exactly what it is. Some are colorful, some are black and white. The resolution is different between icons. Text editor gedit. Micro is a text user interface editor, somewhat similar to Nano, with many features, with tabs, with splits, and it's a single file, just one executable. Ocular and Evins, GIMP, Inkscape, and Blender. Assembler. Let's install Assembler. Let's install some apps, just for kicks. Let's install GIMP and Inkscape and Assembler. There's Audacity, KDE Live OBS Studio. So many helpers for people that want an easy way to do their post-install tasks. So most of people, once they install their operating system, they have a procedure that they follow. The post-install tasks, which I call terraforming. So in my case, that's making sure that I have the applications that I use, which are Kate, Visual Studio Code, Firefox, Crusader, what else? Meld, the Git suite, and a Google Chrome. And then enabling the XRDP RDP server. And I just keep the default settings. I install KDE Plasma, the version that's available in that operating system. I keep the same desktop backgrounds and themes and everything. If the KDE Plasma experience is very close to the default vanilla KDE Plasma experience. IRC channel, IRC chat, client, XChat. The web app Slack. WhatsApp online. Okay. Let's see how do we install things, this button hopefully. Apply your current selections to the system. So it's going to install many Python things. GTK2. Some, this I'm going to guess are some of the packages that are specialized for newer instruction set architectures for x86, 64, v3. And that's why they have versions of maybe the same package. The same package is offered both from an Arch Linux repository and from this CachyOS -extra-v3 repository, and the package from the CachyOS -extra-v3 repository has better priority. Okay, proceed with installation. I can see GIMP and Inkscape. Text Live, what is that? Okay, and it has finished installing. Let's see if we can do something similar from the welcome application in EndeavourOS. So I have installed all of the updates using the welcome applications from both CachyOS and welcome and EndeavourOS. I have installed 3 packages from CachyOS welcome application. Let's do the same thing with the EndeavourOS welcome application. Update package display, change display manager. Okay, change display resolution. Add more apps. Choose popular apps to install. Let's do that. Okay, EndeavourOS quick start installer. So we used video players and selected SM player, and for not sure where, GIMP and Inkscape, these two. Install now. Starts Pacman in a default terminal, which is KD console. So you can have the vanilla Arch Linux experience after you install EndeavourOS, but just not enabling the EndeavourOS binary package repository, and by not installing the EndeavourOS packages, there's a checkbox for that. A similar list of packages, many Python packages. Okay, the same output with optional dependencies for Inkscape. Okay, so we have SM player, and we see that an optional dependency of SM player is YTDLP. Press enter to close. Okay, so we have used the welcome application to install 3 packages. What else can we do with the welcome application? Tools useful for daily tasks. Tools useful after installation. Help pages, manual pages, whatever. Product manual pages. Let's see. For AUR, what does it do? So it opens the default web browser, which is Mozilla Firefox, and takes us to discovery, which is what? Which is the wiki page, right, from EndeavourOS. Wiki, yeah, the wiki. Okay, how do we get to the wiki in CachyOS? Hello. So the application is named Cachy Browser. It has a icon similar to the other CachyOS icons, which is a hexagon. The KD Plasma Start menu button also is the CachyOS icon. The Welcome app, CachyOS Hello, also use the CachyOS icon. In EndeavourOS, the Plasma Start menu button is the vanilla one from KD, and the icon of the Welcome app is the EndeavourOS one, and the application says that it's named YAD, yet another D in programming. Both operating systems have wikis, and forums. This one is a WordPress thing, not a wiki. Let's see how we get to the wiki of EndeavourOS, if there's such a thing. This is a suite of similar to blog posts, articles. Enable and set up Bluetooth devices from the year 2021, posted on WordPress. So I'm not exactly sure if there's a MediaWiki style wiki available for EndeavourOS. Both operating systems do have a forum. Let's look at those. They both use the state-of-the-art forum for open source projects, which is Discuss. The same technology used, for instance, by the KD project. Okay, let's see how we make the welcome application not start automatically. There's this button in here in CachyOS Hello at the bottom right, launch at start. Let's see if there's a similar button in welcome in EndeavourOS. Don't show me anymore. On the bottom, a button. You can run the application again with EOS minus welcome. You can enable it or start it with minus minus enable or minus minus once. EOS meaning EndeavourOS, the short 3-letter version. Both operating systems have floating KD plasma panels. The size is different. The height of the default KD plasma panel is higher in EndeavourOS. Let's maximize an application. We do that. When you maximize an application, the KD plasma panel stops floating, which is the default behavior. There's this firewall icon in the system tray in EndeavourOS with zones. Let's see what it does. Firewall applet. Sure what that thing does. Shields up, enable notifications, edit firewall settings. How do we stop this thing? Default zone public, denied. Firewall minus config from Red Hat Incorporated. I'm not sure why the copyright ends in 2017. Active binding. I don't need any firewall. I'm in a virtual machine. I would probably uninstall this software if that's the simplest and cleanest way to get rid of all firewalls on this computer. It's probably allowing at least traffic from my machine to the internet. Probably. Okay, let's look at the version of KDE Plasma. Where is it? In the settings somewhere. The penultimate one. Not really. About this system. So it shows the branding, the correct icon, correct operating system name. But I'm not sure if the operating system name is CachyOS Linux or CachyOS. It doesn't say anywhere in here CachyOS Linux. So I guess the correct operating system name is CachyOS, not CachyOS Linux. So they should choose a branding and stick to it. KDE Plasma version the same one, KDE Frameworks version the same one, Qt version the same one. Different kernel versions. EndeavourOS is using the vanilla Arch Linux kernel, whereas CachyOS has its CachyOS own kernel. Wayland. Something is interesting with RAM in here. Maybe one is using a swap file and the other one is using a... I'm not sure. I do not know how to interpret this one. Why they're using different RAM when I specify the same for the both virtual machines. Let's check. So memory, oh, okay, this one is 9, not 8. That's the explanation. Let me use these two operating systems for 10 minutes and see if I can do the things that I usually do to my machines. Okay, let's change KDE settings. Let's do mouse, cursors, Capitan cursors. Oh, let's make them bigger. Vanilla Breeze once. 36. Apply. I don't like the fact that it automatically selects size 12. So that's totally a bug in my opinion. And here it pre-selects the size 24. If I click a second time, the wrong size for the cursor will be selected. The combo box should appear below the combo box list should appear below the combo box. And then I'll need to actually walk with my mouse to select the size that I want. It should not pre-select a size for me. Okay, next up, what I'm doing, let's do fonts. Not that. This one. Okay, so I want the best whatever sub-pixel rendering as possible, which is RGB and hinting full. Apply. Else edges. I don't need any edge actions. And outer 15. Apply. So this outer 15 makes it that I need to drag a window by its title bar to the edge of the screen in order for it to be quarter tiled, so to use just a quarter of the screen. Whereas in here, it should use half of the screen. So in here should use a quarter, in here should use half. Similar to what I know other operating systems do. No action and 15%. How do we do that? Apply. So this should be it. Now let's see if I can install XRDP server in there. How do we do that? Let's install the SSH server and follow my instructions. Well, it's a AUR package. And AUR package managers are installed by default on both operating systems. Okay, let's see if we have the SSH server installed by default. How do we do that? So this is a bug, should not show the OrkKD Discover desktop icon because it's not installed by default on many Arch Linux operating systems and because I'm not sure how well it works on Arch Linux. Okay, let's add some applications to the favorites. So I want Kate, add to favorites, and I want console. Okay, let's do the same thing here. So Kate and console. Okay, how do we check if we have the package installed for OpenSSH? The Fish console is default on CachyOS, whereas EndeavourOS uses Bash. Let's see if we can switch immediately to Bash in here. And we can. I don't see anything about SSH here. Let's see if we can redirect the output. We can see Firewall D as a systemd service available. Let's do the same thing in CachyOS. State running 294 versus 299. Loaded. The same systemd version. And let's look at interesting daemons services running. So firewall D, QEMU guest agent. Wow. SDDM we saw previously. QEMU guest agent. SDDM. Another word manager thing, spice minus VD agent. The standard Arch Linux systemd configuration. And then the user slices start. And that's it. X2D hello. Let me install the SSH server on both operating systems. I'm using the Arch Linux wiki page for Pacman Rosetta, which I search like this on Google wiki space arch space Rosetta. This shows the common command line arguments for the various package managers in the major Linux operating system families. So there's the family Debian, the family Fedora, the family Arch, and the family SUSE. Okay, we want to search for packages. Let's see if we can become super user. Yes, we can. Pacman search for SSH. It searches just in the name. Okay, that's great. Name of the package. OpenSSH is installed. I guess this is the server part. Let's check. Okay, says the OpenSSH server is installed but it's disabled by default. Let's enable it. Alt backspace works correctly. Deletes the previous word. Okay, and it's running now. Let's do the same thing in here. Okay, what did I do? SSHD is not installed by default. Uppercase S, was it? This list is not sorted by the package name, but by the repo/package name. So core OpenSSH is not installed by default. How do we do that? Back to the page. So minus uppercase S. Okay, I'm using the Pacman package manager to install from the command line the OpenSSH Arch Linux package. Now systemctl status says that the OpenSSH package is installed, the SSH server is available, but it's not enabled. Let's do that. You almost always want to use enable now instead of systemctl start SSHD and then systemctl enable SSHD. So instead of two command lines, you use just one systemctl enable -1s now SSHD. Okay, let's connect to the both computers using SSH client, and we also will log out. Okay, close window, close window. We want the IPv4 address of each computer for the virtual machine. For this, we go at in the Virt Manager in the tab Show Virtual Hardware Details at Network Interface Card and IC. In the field IP address is showing the IP address. So let's connect. Let's put this here. So SSH administrator at this thing. And another one. SSH. This one. Okay, so I want to connect to the virtual machine using the SSH protocol. Password. Okay, something was wrong here. Permission denied to 192.168.122.2 for administrator. Okay, maybe it doesn't allow password logins. So the default should be for OpenSSH in 99% of cases. Don't allow the user root to connect remotely, at least with a password. Maybe not even with the public-private key pair. But then allow the default Linux user that you create during the installation that has sudo powers to connect using passwords. Let's try to fix this thing. Okay, so I have logged into the virtual machine using Virt Manager, the console, the graphical console spice. And now I am going to try to edit the SSHD configuration file. How do we do that? We have this text editor. We don't have MC. SSHD config. We always make a backup before actually editing. Let's see. Authentication. Permit root login. Prohibit password. That's okay. Good default. I'm not even sure if there's a setting in SSHD for not allowing with passwords the non-root users. Let's see. Permit empty passwords. No. Password authentication, yes. Keyboard interactive authentication, yes. The IP address indeed is the one ending with 2. The username is administrator. Wow, I messed up the name of the Linux user when I created the operating system. Instead of administrator, I typed something similar, but I did not proofread before pressing enter. So that's a bad thing to do. Do proofread whatever you type before pressing enter. Let's see if copy paste works. Nope. Administrator. Okay. And we're in business. Bash. Okay, let's now try to follow the procedure. So we need to install the AUR package for XRDP and XORG XRDP. These packages really should be part of the AUR repositories. Let's search if they appeared meanwhile. Nope. What AUR package manager do we have in here? Nope, this one. I searched on the internet for wiki arch AUR. So this AUR is the Arch user repository, is a list of build recipes for recipes for packages which are not available in the default AUR package repository. So these 3 ones provided by Arch Linux. And on both operating systems, CachyOS and EndeavourOS, there's a AUR helper application installed. Because if you don't have that, the way of installing AUR package recipes is to install the using pacman the packages basedevel and go, and then git clone such a recipe, and then change into the git clone directory and then use make package and then install the package as super user. Instead of doing the dance of git clone cd make package sudo, you use just one command, and that's what AUR helpers are for. And the fourth result here is the Arch wiki page for AUR helpers. And I've searched for YAY, no such thing. What do we search like this? Okay, but then there's this one, PARU. Maybe there's even more. What I did is I have listed all of the executables in /usr/bin and searched for a common pattern. So this one has AU, AU, AU in name. Let's see. Nothing. There's no Aura or Aurman. And then let's grep for PA. And PA should be at the start. So there's Paru. And there's Paku. Nope. And Pak-Or. Where are you? Nope. So maybe Paru is the one. If not, we're going to do it totally manually, if Paru is not good enough. Let's see how we use this thing. Interactively search and install for the target. I probably need to be super user or not. Who knows? Let's try. And the name of the packages are XRDP and Xorg XRDP. Let's do just XRDP first. Oh, what are you asking here? I want to use one AUR XRDP. Packages to install, I can use spaces. And I can also pre-select Xorg XRDP right now. So I can go one and then 4. Enter a number. I have already selected the number 1. For Xorg XRDP, yes. Okay. It can't build the AUR package as root. Okay. So that's what was it? Paru XRDP. Xorg XRDP. Packages to install. I'm not sure what it did right now. Control C. Just XRDP. Packages to install 1 and 4. 1, 1. So it's going to install dependencies, Xorg server devel, the network wide assembler, and the image lib. Use 2, and then 2 AOR packages. Great. What should I know? Q. Accept changes. I didn't change anything. Import, yes. So it has downloaded the release source tarball of XRDP 0.10. And now it's building and installing building the package using GNU toolchain. Auto-reconf, auto-conf, configure. Okay, still the configure step. And this is probably the make step. GNU make. Okay, let's try to do the same thing for EndeavourOS. So, which yay? Yes. Which paru? No paru. Okay, let's see how we use yay. I already have the notes. So yay XRDP. Okay, which are the options? What is this? So I want the option 1 and 5. Packages to build 1 and 2 all. Diffs to show none. Remove make dependencies after install no. Import yes. Proceed with installing pacman packages, which are dependencies. Okay, what did it say here? Yeah, this strange mirror doesn't work. Proceed with installation of more pacman packages. So what it did, it built Xorg XRDP. It has installed, and hopefully the same thing for the other package, which is XRDP. Let's check if the package was installed correctly, if we have the systemctl output for the service XRDP. So systemctl status XRDP. It's in here. Enable now XRDP. And now it's running. And let's see if we have the XO wrapper. Copy paste should work. No such file. Let's create this one. How do we do that? Probably we want a trailing new line. Okay. And for the current user, Control D, we want this file. I'm not sure if this is the way to start KD Plasma 6. We'll check immediately. Control X to save. Let's see if we have these executables. /usr lib plasma dbus run session if needed. It's there. Which start plasma x11. It's in there, so it should be okay. Now for EndeavourOS, it asks if I want to install the package xrdp. Yes. It's building from a source release tarball the other AUR package, which is xorg xrdp. Proceed with installation, yes. Let's see if the systemd service has been installed. It's there. It's running. Let's do the wrapper. This is when you're using both selection and primary at the same time. You don't remember what you copy pasted through what you copied through the primary and what you copied through the selection. Where we put the new line. Okay. And as the non-root user, okay, and this should be all. Let's check again if these two executables exist. /usr lib plasma. Okay, exists. Control U. Start plasma x11 is there. And now we can keep in console the tab open where we're connected using the SSH protocol and create new tabs where we will connect using the RDP protocol. We're going to use a command line like this one. Okay, let's administrator. So I just did not put the M letter, administrator. Okay, and the IP address ends in 2. Yes, I want to connect. And I should be disconnected from both computers, and I'm not. And I can't anymore. What's happening here? Let me restart the computer. Okay, so we're connected to the first virtual machine, which is running CachyOS using the free RDP client. This is very advantageous because, for instance, I can just easily resize the resolution of the virtual machine. Whatever resolution I give to, whatever size I give to the free RDP window, this will tell via the RDP protocol to the virtual machine, and then KDE Plasma 6 will resize to the exact same resolution as the size of the content of this free RDP window. Okay, let's do the same thing for EndeavourOS. And the IP address ends with 31. And something's wrong. What is it? It might be the firewall. It might be that the server, so the server is enabled but disabled. What is that thing? Let's just reboot the computer. The computer is starting. We should not log into KDE Plasma at all, not Wayland, not X11, not nothing, using the virtualization software. We can connect using SSH, so that's good, means that the computer is online, the SSH server is running, and the correct IP address 192.168.122.31, and the connection fails. Let me fix this thing. As expected, firewall-D would be a source of troubles the moment I saw the icon in the system tray, so indeed it was. I've removed the package for the firewall-D package. So that's this one. Delete the package and remove its configuration files, sudo pacman minus uppercase R, lowercase n, and then firewall-D. And then I needed to reboot the computer. Okay, and now I am connected using the RDP protocol, the free RDP protocol client, and the XRDP, Xorg XRDP, RDP server to these two Linux operating systems based on Arch Linux from the Arch Linux family. CachyOS on the left, EndeavourOS on the right. And everything works as expected. Arch Linux is a great Linux operating system. You can install all sorts of packages. The RDP connection works great. Let's see if copy paste of text works. does. Both directional, so we can copy paste text from the host machine to the virtual machine using RDP. Again, each time we resize the FreeRDP window, the resolution of KDE Plasma inside of the virtual machine will change accordingly, such that no stretching appears, no scaling, no nothing. This resolution of the Remote Desktop Protocol client application window will be used for KDE Plasma, and we can also see this thing here in the settings. At resolution. Okay, so this non-standard resolution 960 by 1008. And now it became 960 by 512. And now it's a bit less of 1080p. So this is what I would expect, one of the fundamental features that I want when I connect to another machine, being a remote machine, a virtual machine, a machine in the cloud, whatever. When I'm connecting in graphical user interface mode to that machine, I want at least to be able to resize easily the remote graphical user interface viewer, such that I can use a quarter of the screen or half of the screen or the entire screen as needed. And then I want copy paste to work. And then additionally, we have other goodies, which is getting sound from the remote connection, which we do. It works correctly. And then the connection is extremely fast. There's no latency here. And even YouTube playback should work correctly. Let's see where's the web browser for CachyOS, the Cachy browser. Okay. Let's have a YouTube video play, and this should be the end. EndeavourOS by default is using Firefox and Google Search. CachyOS by default is using the CachyOS browser and the search engine DuckDuckGo. But we still get to the same big bug bunny YouTube video. One is in dark mode, the other one is not. Let's see how playback works. Where are the stats? It looks really, really good to me. So video playback is good. I get the audio from the virtual machine. I can resize the virtual machine, whatever the RDP client, and copy paste of text works. Everything's really snappy. Thank you, the RDP protocol. Thank you, the XRDP and the RDP developers. Thank you, Arch Linux. Thank you, CachyOS. Thank you, EndeavourOS. This was it. Thank you.